The history of the book industry begins around 2400 BCE. Egyptians made the first known paper from the papyrus plant. Prior to paper, the passing of stories and information was limited to verbal interactions and etchings on immovable surfaces. Papyrus revolutionized the way people could communicate and record information for future generations. At first, scrolls were utilized, but once they were folded versus rolled, the first book, called a codex, was born.
In the 5th century, with the fall of the Roman Empire and barbarians beginning to rule, early books were at risk. Monasteries proved to be a safe house. Monks became the most common scribes. They wrote and bound every book by hand. This process would take hundreds of hours to complete a single book. Since the church controlled what was written, content was often biased or changed through abbreviations and interpretations.
Moving forward to 1450 CE, in Germany, Johannes Gutenberg invents the printing press. His invention took away the need for handwritten books, thus limiting bias, interpretations, and an individual culture's ability to shape past events. Prior to the printing press, the number of books in Europe were in the thousands. After 50 years of printing, over 9 million books were in existence. The first mass-produced and most notable of these books was the Gutenberg Bible.
Our culture continued to evolve. Machinery innovations in England led to mass production, particularly in the textile industry. The middle class, people in between aristocrats and factory workers, emerged and had more free time to read. By the 1830s, cheap paper was able to be mass-produced, making book production cheaper and faster.
The population's literacy rates were growing and general education was on the rise. This meant more books and authors were emerging. In the 1800s, companies tried to categorize and publish the works of exceptional writers. Between 1880 and 1920, demand for books grew, and so did publishing houses. Despite the growth of the industry in the 20th century, book publishing declined between 1910 and 1950. The Depression and the two world wars had a large negative impact on the profitability of book publishing. Once the wars were over, the industry was able to recover quickly.
With the aid of publishing houses, the production of many different types of books were made available to serve different demographics. Whether one was reading for leisure, educational, or professional purposes, books were flooding the marketplace. A new, widely diverse selection of literature came about to serve the masses.
Identifying a need and an opportunity for book superstores, the first Borders opens in 1971. Soon after, other bookstore chains follow. A few decades later, as media were shifting to digital music and movies, Borders stores shifted towards CD and DVD sales. By 2011, Borders declared bankruptcy, leaving Barnes & Noble as the only large corporate retail bookstore.
Shifting back to the 70s, Michael Hart typed up the Declaration of Independence and is credited with beginning the movement of digitizing books. He founded Project Gutenberg, which is recognized as one of the earliest and most enduring online literary projects. Digitization in this form began to preserve older books and documents as the paper they were printed on was deteriorating. The concept of a commercial ebook was not far off.
Amazon, the first online bookstore, was founded in 1994 by Jeff Bezos and launched in 1995. Amazon has since diversified and added their own inventory. However, they have sold more books than any other entity. They introduced their first e-reader, the Kindle, in 2007. Unlike any e-reader before, the Kindle could download books from Amazon wirelessly and could store more than 200 titles.
The book industry has changed dramatically since the Egyptians began writing papyrus. From the first Bible to dime novels and illustrated children's books to college textbooks, the most recent developments have brought us e-books, e-publishing, and audiobooks. That is how we get to the present day in the book industry. Where will we go next?